Welcome to episode 22, Construction Nation. This is Sue Dyer, your host of Construction Dream Team, where I interview industry leaders and experts so you can learn about the people side of construction and build your construction dream team based on OPE, other people's experiences. Accelerate your success by learning from those who've already been there and done that. I'm so excited that Construction Dream Team now has a LinkedIn group. I've been doing these interviews now for a few months, and what I realized is that we don't have any place to continue the conversations. We have a great interview and we learn so much, and there's no place to answer questions or talk or chat. And so we're going to be doing that on our LinkedIn group. And to make it easier for you to join the group, we've actually created a web page where you can just click and join. So if you go to cdtlinkedin.com, that's CDT for Construction Dream Team, linkedin.com, you can join the group and join the conversation. And so we really look forward to having some events there. Some of our guests will join us, and we're going to have a dialogue, but it's a place for you to ask me questions, ask guests questions, and to maybe tell us what you'd like to hear about. So really excited about that. So please go there and join. Today, we are so excited to have our guest that we have. I have admired her for some years now and watched as she has led her team to becoming very high performing. She is at San Jose Maneta International Airport. She heads up design and construction. So a little bit more about Judy Ross. She is the Assistant Director of Aviation at San Jose International Airport. And she's been in that role since April of 2018. She served as the interim Assistant Director of Aviation since 2017 and Deputy Director of Aviation for the Planning and Development Group. And this is, of course, in Silicon Valley. So we expect great things. Everything that happens in Silicon Valley is supposed to be leading edge, right? I hear that a lot anyway. So she's been there in that role since 2015. She was in that role. And of course, this experience has included managing the administrative functions of the airport director's office, as well as the 5 airport divisions. And the divisions are operations, facilities and engineering, finance, planning and development, and business development. So she sees across the entire organization, enterprise-wide, what needs to happen and is leading that effort. So I'm really thrilled to have her here today. So welcome, Judy, to Construction Dream Team.
Thanks, Sue. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, thanks for spending some time with us today. So tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming the Assistant Director of Aviation at San Jose Airport.
Well, I've been in airports my entire career since I graduated from college, and I've had various roles. And it became very clear to me at my very first job, at my very first airport, which was on the East Coast, that knowing how to implement a capital project was a very important skill set, especially at airports. As they say, the airport is always a construction zone of one type or another. I'd just like to go to a little story about my very first project at my very first airport. Shortly after I arrived at that airport, I was assigned to open a runway that was completed, but was not open due to lack of a runway overrun area. The overrun area was in construction, and to create the overrun, they were filling in this portion of the bay with this fill material. Since I was a new person and I had a college degree, which back then in this organization, not many did. So apparently I knew everything, or so they thought. So they assigned me this project, and I soon realized it was a project that was having a lot of trouble. And fresh out of college and getting into a project with a lot of trouble was really challenging. So I thought, well, I got this project. I'll go out to the project site. So I went out with the city engineer to this project site. And as I was walking through the area, I suddenly found myself up to my neck in the sandy material. Apparently, I found a void, and the city engineer grabbed my arm and pulled me out. So I guess I found another problem on the project. So coming out, I had wet sand up to my neck, and I was missing one shoe. And the city engineer wouldn't even come back to the office. He dropped me off at the door and left. And he said, "I'm so embarrassed. I'm a sales expert, and I let you fall into that hole." Well, I survived that project, and eventually I did get that runway open for operations. So at the end, we were able to navigate through that project. Not sure I really knew what I was doing. I just knew I had to get it open, so I did what I needed to do. And as part of that effort, I think I found I really like project management and the diversity of skill set it takes to accomplish a project. And I would add that working with capital programs has been the most fun I've had on any job at any airport I've been at.
Yep.
So moving forward several years, I wanted to return to California. So I was offered and accepted the Deputy of Planning and Development at Mineta San Jose International Airport. The position had been vacant for several months due to retirements and for other reasons. In my time as a deputy, I was able to realign the team to really focus on project delivery and introduce new tools for effective project delivery, including introducing or reintroducing partnering. I was there for 2 years, and then our director moved on to a larger airport, and that created opportunity where our assistant director moved into an interim director position. I moved into the interim assistant director position, and then it took about a year for us all to become permanent in the role.
That sounds like quite a journey, and we're so glad you came back to California. And but had experience other places, because it's as they say in aviation, you've seen one airport. So you learn the differences, because every airport, every project, every city, every county, every state is different and unique, and so goes their projects. They're very different.
Right, absolutely.
So you've had a lot of leadership roles for quite a few years now. What do you think is your strength as a leader?
You know, I was going through my career, and I didn't think I did anything out of the ordinary. But my focus has always been on the people and creating a teaming atmosphere, and always having a little bit of fun along the way. And at one point in my career, I just thought everyone else led like this because that's what you did if you were a leader. Well, as I was developing over the years, I did find out that was not always the case. So what I did is I studied those that I felt were great leaders in my eyes. And then I took lessons from those leaders that I thought weren't as strong as a leader. But every situation you have to take as a learning experience and incorporate that in your leadership. And you can't just practice like you did 10 or 15 years ago. You have to evolve yourself, because the world changes, the work environment changes, the people coming into the organization change. And I came to realize that the most important thing that leaders can focus on is people. And I would like to quote one of my son's elementary teachers. It's like the book, Everything You Learned in Kindergarten. But she would always say that all children are gifted. They just open up their gifts in different ways and at different times. And I believe this is true for people in the workforce as well. Everyone has their strengths. You just have to find the strength and then focus them in the right direction. And sometimes it's not in the direction they're currently in or currently heading. And as a leader, you must have the courage to actually discuss it with that employee and to do something about it. And sometimes it's moving them to the position that they fit in, or sometimes it's just giving them the opportunity to try something else. And I have a lot of stories. I guess I've been in this for many years. It wasn't until I was leaving another airport in Southern California that by focusing on people, it really made the difference in some of the staff's lives, some of the employees' lives. At the farewell event, one of my employees, he gave a little talk, a farewell talk, but his closing comment was, It is true what she says. It's not about the work, but the people we're working with. And then he gave me that note, and I still have it today. And every once in a while, I'll take a look at that as a reminder for me. And at the end of the day, it's not necessarily about accomplishing all the projects and putting them into place, but it's really about the journey to bring out the best in people that are working on the project along the way.
That is such an awesome philosophy. And I'm so glad you shared that because I do see that in the results, but didn't know that was your philosophy internally. So it makes a lot of sense. So tell me, so in 2015, you became the head of planning and design. What were things like when you came into that role, and what was your vision?
Okay, when I arrived, I came from a much larger organization that I had restructured their whole capital program. So, and it was moving very progressively and going very well by the time I left. But here it was like going back and starting over. I noted that there really hadn't been any significant projects of any size since the larger Terminal B project and the terminal opened in 2010. In addition, the division had a couple transitions in leadership in a very short time, and it was due to retirement and other reasons. And at the time I arrived, there had not been a division deputy for several months, and there wasn't even anybody really acting. So the team really needed someone to lead them in a clear path forward. There was a lot of work to do, and in a relatively short period of time, the airport had some remaining bond funds from the original terminal construction and needed to get this list of projects completed prior to refunding of bonds, which was in less than 2 years. This list had been approved by bond council, and so I was informed that little change could be made to the list. It was like $50 million worth of projects, but one project would have been one effort, but 20 projects is a whole different effort. In addition, the concessions upstairs were going through a midterm tenant improvements, and those were underway, which was also the responsibility of the division. So we had plenty of work, but didn't have a very productive structure to complete this work. So one of the first things I did when I arrived, I met with every member of the division individually. I asked them, and I told them ahead of time what I was going to ask them, that I would like them to tell me what they feel was working, what they feel wasn't working, and what their goals were. Even I shared with this ahead of time for these individual meetings. I didn't get a whole lot of information. I really had to extract it from them. And then even as far as goals for the employees, it ranged from retiring soon to kind of staying in their position title, not really where they wanted to go. But through the conversations, I did note that they were dedicated to the airport and had a deep desire to do good work. But they still had a lot of uncertainty, as I would expect, because of the changes in leadership that they experienced. From there, I had to figure out how to structure the division to accomplish the capital program that we had before us and also the concessions, tenant improvements. So I felt the only way to effectively and efficiently deliver the capital projects was really to restructure the focus of the division. I wanted it to reflect what we do, not position titles, and which led to a reorganization of that division. The primary change was really to focus the team, again, like I said, what we do. And it was my interpretation, the division was project delivery. The organization had a silo for engineering and a silo for architecture. And we were managing contracts for that type of work, but it was not necessarily what our key focus was. So the structure was developed to focus on either delivering a project or supporting the delivery of a project.
How did that go over with the team as you began to share this change? Because that's a pretty significant change in direction for them for what they were used to.
Yes, it was significant. And what really was the focus is to try to get them on the same page. and as you go through change, there's some very early adopters, about a third of them. Another third come on a little bit later. And then the last third, it takes a long time. And then there's some that just check out and don't follow. But I think you have to be firm in your conviction that this is the direction you want to go, and keep working the plan and keep working with the employees to move forward.
Well, you must have had a pretty clear vision in your head too. So tell us about maybe your vision, what you did to articulate the vision or write the vision or keep that in front of everyone. What did you have a tool for that?
Okay. Well, just using the input from the team, that's basically how I went through reorganizing the overall structure. But I also outlined clear responsibilities. I wouldn't necessarily had any tool. You can read through several books and several books on change, but you take the best from each of those and incorporate it into your style. But one of the key things I think that really helped is I did bring the changes forward to the assistant director and the director of the department. And it took a couple iterations before I had their concurrence. And then I also developed a rollout plan and again received their concurrence on that as well. And I really think this was an important step because I need to get their buy-in to support it and to make the transition successful. And also I structured a rollout plan as well, which included that I met with all the effective employees individually. Then I also met with the entire division and to make sure they had the consistent message of why the change was occurring and go through the primary vision of the division. And that was to deliver projects or support the delivery of projects and to provide the team with an opportunity to ask questions. And this provided some feedback. The ones that seem to talk all the time would ask the questions. Others, they sit there, but they have a question. So it was provided them an opportunity and asked them questions to try to have them share what their feelings were. In addition, I did share the vision with the entire department. Many comments throughout the department came back to me and said, that really makes sense. We never really thought of that in that way. And overall, they were looking toward the future. And like I said, not everybody was happy with the change. But because I did get the director's buy-in, she held her commitment to see this through and supported the change, even if it was challenged by one or two. So I think that was important too, that at the leadership at that time, they bought into it and they were committed to it and they were committed to see it through.
Yeah, that would be, pretty darn important. The rollout plan sounds very interesting. Kind of what did that look like? What did your rollout plan kind of entail?
Yeah, well, I knew that there was employees that were going to be affected, and it was important that I met with them individually so we could have a one-on-one conversation. I can hear if they were excited about it, if they had concerns about it, how I can help them through this transition. So those individual meetings were very, very critical. Then the division-wide meeting, again, some people are comfortable with numbers. So the division-wide meeting was also very important because each member could hear what each one had, the questions that they would ask, and also the answers that were said. So it was a consistent message, and it was across the board. Then the message to the department was also critical too, because the division just doesn't deliver projects themselves. They're delivering the project for someone else, and usually some other division. If they knew that there was going to be a change, they would have to buy into the change as well and become a critical element in the delivery process.
Yes, there are a lot of stakeholders in a airport. So I'm curious to know you changed really the roles and responsibilities of folks, and I can see you must have moved them around you just structured them in a different way so that it was focused on delivery. Did you have to change policies or processes in this effort?
No, I didn't necessarily need to change any policies. And as a public agency, I just can't just some people are out, some people are in, and find other opportunities. But so I had to work with the staff I had. So I did structure them to where I felt from my individual conversations were their strongest suits. And again, we were still fitting within the overall city job description. So I had a lot of flexibility in there. But as far as procedures, we didn't have any. There wasn't really a structure. So that was some of the tools we also had to look into putting into place was different procedures, in which I like pictures. So it was a lot of Visio flow charts. And then also put in a reporting structure as well, because just one person shouldn't know, or the project manager shouldn't know where their project's at. It takes the entire division and sharing it amongst the entire division so they all can offer their input and support for their projects. So we also implemented regular project review meetings. So each project manager would bring in their project and their project reports, and then they would share some of the challenges and where they're at with their project. And then they would get input from the other project managers as well. But also, it also provided some interrelationships to the project. So they would work in together, and especially if they're working close to each other or in a very similar area or close proximity to each other. So it not only provided a forum to help a project manager through their project, but it also helped with the interrelationships with the projects.
I think one of the really important lessons learned here is that you were able to do this within the confines of what already existed as far as, public requirements or employee requirements or processes. And so I could think a lot of people think, oh, I could never do that in my organization. I hear that a lot. And I think that it just proves that, well, you can with some clarity and with support. So I think that's totally awesome.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about, been doing this for a while now. How do you know that what you set out to do is successful?
As I look back on the team and the growth of the team, there was always some little indications along the way that they were moving in the right direction. And then as you look back over a period of time, you see where they were to where they are 3 months and 6 months, but just monitoring along the way. But one of the couple things that did occur that I thought, wow, this is working. We had an employee from we had an opening, so another employee from another division at the airport applied, and he was actually selected. And after his transition, he was introducing himself as he works in project delivery. And I thought, wow, it's really sticking. Another example was, I opened up my LinkedIn, and then this post just appeared, and it was from one of the team members from planning and development. And I'll use her words. And this is a quote right from the LinkedIn post. "Going to work is easy when you love your job. So happy to be part of the SJC Planning and Development family. Never did I think I would end up having a job in aviation, but I'm loving every minute of it." And I thought I kept it because I thought that was a very powerful statement from one of the members of the team that said, this progression is probably working. And then if I wanted to give a more specific example of where planning and development is today. So this has been, I guess I put it in place about 6 months after I was here. So it's been in place for a good 3 years now. So today we have a project. The members are leading the interim facility project, which is basically adding 6 gates. And this project has extremely tight schedule, and every day matters. We started partnering at the beginning of the project that placed every team member on the same page and agreeing to the same goals. And then they identified their individual roles in the project. I also assigned one of the project managers that I thought was really developing well, and this was his next step. And as he is, over the year, he's just been owning this project. And it's not only owning the project, but he has received the support from the entire department. And today the project is moving forward successfully. which we're going to open in mid-June. And for me, in my role as assistant director, I've been very comfortable staying at my appropriate level and not having to dive deep in the project and then come out. I can just stay up at the level that I should be. And I would just say we continue to partner throughout this project, and any issues have been quickly resolved on the team. And now it's not just the division, it's the whole department. They're all doing a great job trying to meet these tight deadlines. And I would say 4 years ago, we would not be able to have this type of success.
That's totally awesome. That is really, really awesome. So as you look to the future, what's on the horizon? You have more projects coming out. What do you see as your team as they continue moving forward and becoming more and more success? What's kind of your vision for that?
Okay. The changes are not just within the division now. The changes have spread throughout the department, but we still have a ways to go. When I say team now, we're talking about the whole department. Team is still growing, but I think as far as it goes to project delivery, but I think we're growing in the right direction. One of the things regarding the division, since I've been promoted, we've been struggling to find the deputy that's the right fit for that division and for how our upcoming capital projects will move forward. And it's really important to me to find that right fit so we can continue that growth, and the team members individually can continue to grow and prepare them for a larger capital program. And like I said, we do have some sizable upcoming projects to address our significant passenger growth. And I really want the team to be prepared to deliver those projects successfully. And in addition, we want to be able to have the team members, particularly from planning and development, be ready for any future leadership positions as well.
Perfect. One of the things I wanted to back up just a minute and ask you about is I'm hearing that this started as a vision for your planning and design division of the department. And for those that don't understand the structure, the department means the entire airport because it's a department of the city of San Jose. So, but it sounds like rather than it just being in your division, it sort of has spread to the stakeholders and others. So you can talk a little bit about how this way of operating has sort of, maybe I'm going to use the word, infected the rest of the organization.
Yeah. Well, projects aren't just one division. The planning development division is the one that is the lead to deliver projects, but it takes everyone across the department to deliver the project. And also at the end of the day, there's also an owner of the project that will take it over, because after the project's completed, planning development moves on to another project. But the way of delivering a project is to be very inclusive of various stakeholders. For example, operations will be operating the facility. They also are our key representative to bring in who is going to operate off those gates. In this case, the airline. We have facilities division who will maintain the facility and maintain all the equipment in the facility. So including them throughout the project is very important as well. So it's not like you deliver the project, throw it over the wall. You have to include everybody right from the start. Everybody has input and is part of the success of the project. So by the time the project is completed, the facilities division knows every piece of equipment, knows how it operates, and knows how to maintain it. Operations knows how to operate within it. And you could just go on. And finance, we want to pay the contractor. So finance is always right there. So we know that the payments are always made. They know what to look for, and know if they move money around to make sure the money is in the right place to make those payments timely. So it's everybody throughout the department does have a role. And so it may have started just one division, the changes in one division, but it's really spread throughout the department. So we're very inclusive, and we partner with everyone throughout the department.
That's awesome. Yeah, because so many projects, it really is throw it over the fence. And then it just creates a lot of havoc. It's very difficult to achieve success that way. So San Jose International Airport is Silicon Valley's airport. Tell us a little bit about the airport itself.
Okay, well, our primary market is the Silicon Valley, but it also extends into Monterey County and into the Inland Valley areas. And because of the support that we're getting from our market and its economic growth, we've been very fortunate to have really significant passenger growth over the last 3 years. We are now at 14.4 million annual passengers, which is historically the highest ever. And we're continuing to grow, so we do expect to be right around 15 million passengers by the end of the year. And as you would expect with this growth, we also come some challenges. For example, we're now gate constrained, and any future growth may not be as significant as it's been the last 3 years because of it. Hence, that's why we're doing the interim project. However, those gates will be full by the time we open that project. What we've done is we have started planning for the possibility to expand the current terminal on a permanent basis and address some of the enabling projects that will allow us to do that. These projects have been on the planning horizon since the original environmental documentation and the original Terminal B construction back in 2007 to 2010. And so in process now is we're going through the environmental documentation, which is expected to be completed and get clearance by the end of the year. So we are seriously looking at developing the next capital program and analyzing our next steps, which includes possibly additional 12 to 13 permanent gates and the associated systems that go along with the full terminal development. I do want to say that we do realize that we need to be prepared to be successful in that larger terminal project and attract quality builders. To do that, we need to be seen as an owner of choice. And to me, what that means is we make timely decisions, we keep our power in check, and we make payments timely. I believe we have a good start, but we still have progress to make to be ready for that larger project.
That sounds very exciting. So builders out there, listen up, more stuff coming your way. And with this new atmosphere that Judy has created, I hear awesome things about this team, extremely high performing. So congratulations on that. But I'm sure that not everything has always been hunky dory, besides the fact that you fell into a hole and lost your shoe in the sand pit. Tell us about the biggest challenge you ever faced in your career. Take us back to that worst moment and tell us about it.
Okay, sometimes I think I go looking for challenges because I like the recovery part and putting together. But I would like to discuss, and I'll bring a more recent one because it had such a success at the end. I think it's important to note. In the first year I was at San Jose, we were doing the capital projects for the bond projects. We had grant projects and trying to get this all put together. So I will talk a little bit about the perimeter security technology project. And that had a mixture of bond funds and grant funds. And again, security at this airport is very high profile because of some of the history that had occurred here, recent history that occurred here. And also it was on a very tight deadline to capture the certain federal grant funds in the current year. I had assigned a project manager, and because he had available time, probably not the best reason for the selection, but the decision was made. Right from the start, the project did not have good estimates. It did not have good scope because the stakers were uncertain exactly what they wanted. And so it just made the entire project challenging. And I found myself diving deep in the project and having to stay there. There are times when you oversee a project and you kind of go in and help the project manager, but you come out when they're aligned. And I just couldn't find myself being able to pull out of it. We also went through 2 bidding processes before we even got a valid bid. It was a federal project at that time, and we had to do the traditional design, bid, build. Well, then we got an award. I thought, I could ease out for a little bit. And the next thing I knew, the project manager came in my office and said the contractor wanted to pull off the project. I thought, okay, let me meet with the contractor. So I met with the contractor. I asked him what was going on. And there was a lot of things that I didn't know what was going on. So he shared his perspective of those with me. So I asked him for 2 weeks. And I said, give me a 2 weeks and I'll come up with a plan and we'll get this in alignment. In addition, I still had an upset stakeholder. Operations was not happy regarding the whole process. So I took the 2 weeks, and I didn't really take the full 2 weeks, but it gave me a little bit more time to think. And I met with the assistant director and I laid out the plan. I said, the project was in this state. We need to do some drastic changes. So the plan included, I did exchange out the project manager with a stronger skill set. I did bring in a technology consultant to assist with some of the technology issues. And then also I implemented partnering. And again, this is within the first year, and sometimes when you transition, you forget things. And then I had attended an IPI conference, and during one of the presentations, and I said, I had an aha moment. I go, that's what was missing. And so the critical element was missing, and hence an upset stakeholder. So I did put the plan in place, which meant partnering was put into place, and we kept partnering throughout the remainder of the project. At the end, the project did have significant change orders, and it was also constructed during a really heavy rain season. However, at the end, the project did complete on schedule and within budget. And it was really the partnering efforts that got everybody together, got everybody back on the same track. And everybody understood their roles, and everybody had the same goal: get this project back on track, get it on budget, get back on schedule. So I think overall, even the way it started was all over the place, but it ended very successfully. And it was just putting some key elements back into the project and making the project successful. And it was successful because the project was named the Partner Project of the Year in 2017 at the diamond level, which we were watching everybody, the whole list, and all of a sudden we're the only ones left. And it was like, oh my gosh, we're the diamond level. And so that was quite thrilling. We were also awarded the 2017 Collaborative Partnering Pilot Project as well. So for all the challenges up front, it ended up very successfully.
That is so awesome. That's congratulations to you and the team, because it is not easy to get a diamond level award from IPI. Those judges are tough.
Yeah, and our first time we ever submitted. That was great.
That's awesome.
Okay.
So you've had a lot of advice, and I heard about the advice from your son's teacher. What is the best advice you've ever gotten?
I worked for this particular individual several years ago. She was basically the director of this airport, and I also considered her a mentor. There was some things that were going on, and so I asked her, why can't this go faster? And she said, it's better for change to be evolutionary rather than revolutionary, meaning that sustainable, positive change takes time and a lot of work. And it's really about the people and getting their buy-in, which for the most doesn't necessarily occur overnight. She said, set your path, note where you are today, and measure over a period of time. Then you can look back and you can see progress. So don't expect changes on a daily basis, but daily you will note actions that indicate you're moving forward. But she also said there may be times where you need to do a revolutionary change, or like overnight, but use it very sparingly, because that could be very disruptive to an organization. So I always look at that, be evolutionary rather than revolutionary.
I think that's a great way to put it. I always say we try to be like a landslide, slowly sliding along, but it's still going where it's going. Yeah. So we always ask every one of our guests to share a gift with all of us, a resource. This could be a book or an article, link, podcast, video, movie, whatever you think would be meaningful to Construction Nation.
Okay, I did a couple of them. First, I did talk about the change within the planning and development division. But, I do read a lot, but I kind of like doing fun reads too. So one of the books that was given me several years ago was Our Iceberg is Melting by John Cotter. It's a fun fable about penguins on an iceberg. And then one penguin points out the iceberg's in danger of collapsing. And then it tells the story of these penguins in the colony and how they proceed to go through the change process. And actually, as I was reading it and going through it again, I realized, oh, that's kind of what the change was here. So that's always a good read, and it's a quick read. It takes a little over an hour to read, but it's very helpful, but it's done in a very fun way. Yeah, and I also want to point out that I do read the partnering magazines because it's always helpful to read about other people's experiences and take little bits that you can incorporate into your style as well. And I do want to point, I also encourage people to attend the IPI conference. I know over 3 years ago, I was new to Northern California. And through that conference, I had made several key contacts, which really helped me. And I know when I first moved here, we really struggled to get any contractor or design build on any of our projects. We'd have one or two. And today, I think we're doing real well. So all those key contacts are very important to build into your resources and make sure they know about your opportunities that are coming up.
So we will put in the show notes information on the book, Our Iceberg is Melting. And we will also put information in there on the International Partnering Institute, their website, which is partneringinstitute.org. And their conference is in the middle of May and everyone is welcome to come and learn about how to create collaboration on your project. So it is an international group. They have people from all over. I think they have someone from South Africa this year coming. So get involved and learn more about collaboration there. That would be great. So how can Construction Nation get in touch with you, Judy?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn, and I'll also make my email available. I always consider I'm a public employee, so I feel I need to be accessible. So I will provide that to you soon.
Great. And we'll put that in the show notes. And so anybody that wants the show notes for this episode, just go to episode 22 on constructiondreamteam.com and you'll find it there. So what is your parting advice for all of us? Something that we could perhaps put into place starting tomorrow?
I look at leadership, and it's whether you're going through an organizational change or modifications to accomplish your vision. Remember, it's all about the people you work with. So always put the people first. And also, secondly, would be to use your own resources. Discuss challenges with a mentor or respected friend. No one has all the right answers, and usually multiple thoughts from various people from different backgrounds really produces the best solution or response.
And everyone can do that. Reach out to someone that you respect or that you see has a great reputation or has done what you're trying to do, and bring them on board to be your sounding board.
Absolutely.
And two heads are better than one. So I can't thank you enough, Judy, for being here today and sharing with all of us in Construction Nation your insights and all that you're doing. Congratulations on the great work that's happening, and congratulations to your team, because I know none of us does it alone. And so Construction Nation, remember, dream teams don't just happen. They are built one step at a time with your people and your vision. Construction dream teams do allow us to tap into the collective wisdom of the entire industry. And that way we can accelerate your growth. So keep listening and keep learning from all of these great guests where we have the collective wisdom of the industry here. Also, if you want to subscribe to Construction Dream Team, I know many of you are not used to podcasts. Here's a real easy way. If you have an iPhone, Siri now supports the subscription to podcasts. All you have to do is say, "Hey Siri," and say, "Subscribe to Construction Dream Team," and you will automatically be subscribed. It also works if you want to just listen to an episode. You can say, "Hey Siri, listen to Construction Dream Team," and it will come up. Also, when you do get on there, please just scroll down a little bit when you see the Construction Dream Team logo and give us a 5-star rating. If there will be stars, and if you go over to the farthest on the right and click that, it'll make all 5 stars go. And then we will have a 5-star rating that helps us get higher in the search engines. That's what the search engines look for. And that's how more of Construction Nation can find us. And don't forget to go to cdtlinkedin.com and join the group, because we will be having more and more activities and conversations there. So thank everyone so much for listening. And remember that Construction Dream Team drops every single Monday morning at 4 a.m. Pacific time. So please join me next week when I will interview another industry leader or experts about the people side of construction, so you can learn how to create your Construction Dream Team. Thank you, Judy, so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you, Sue.
Thanks, everybody. And I will catch you next time.